Hi and welcome to episode 7 of my 26-day European adventure. Now with Rose riding Pillion for the next 8 days and still on the F800 BMW GS hire bike, we were ready to start enjoying our escape, eventually arriving in the Picos de Europa and Potes on our first full day together in Spain. Now, whilst I'd ridden the Picos 2 years earlier, this was Rose's first ever time. So on our second day and following some research back in the UK, we decided to ride the Picos Triangle. A long day, but worth every minute as we experienced the amazing sights it has to offer, the Deer, Riano and the incredible twisty roads cut into the mountains. A truly unforgettable experience. Now you join us just as we actually leave the police station just outside of Santillana del Mar, having spent a good couple of hours actually filling out a police report. Fortunately we left, I was issued with a letter just confirming the fact that I'd actually lost my passport, also gave the passport number. Something I could actually use when checking into hotels. However, my understanding is that I would then need to visit the British Embassy before returning to the UK for something slightly more permanent. That really was just quite sketchy, but I decided to leave any further investigation until Rose had actually returned to the UK, just so we could actually enjoy our time together. Whilst riding solo, my enjoyment really came from the roads as well as the regions. It was all about the ride as far as I was concerned. So this part of the journey was always going to be slightly different. Riding with a Pillion takes a more grown-up approach and even a bit of pre-planning, albeit without a set itinerary. So the next 8 days will be at a much more leisurely pace. We'd take time to stop at will to actually enjoy our surroundings. So 9 hours in the saddle wasn't going to be an option, nor booking accommodation 30 minutes before check-in. Now, our first stop was at the coastal town of St Vincent. Just a chance to actually get a coffee and also our first ice cream of the trip. It was nice just being able to actually sit back and relax and realise that we were finally on holiday after all the grief of the past few days, which was now firmly behind us. We left St Vincent with our sights set on our end destination for the day in Potes, where we'd booked a self-catering apartment for 2 nights whilst back in the UK. It was located actually on the picturesque river running through the heart of the town. Before leaving Santillana del Mar that morning, we had said our farewell and said thanks to Irene from the hotel, who have been so kind in assisting us so far. She reminded us to call if there was anything more that she could actually do. The weather wasn't great, with low cloud, a stark contrast to the clear skies and temperatures in the late 20s I'd left in Pamplona the previous morning. Having left the coast, the terrain soon changed as we neared the Picos de Europa National Park and its magnificent mountain range. We joined the iconic N621 leading to Potes, although our journey was interrupted by no fewer than 3 sets of roadworks en route. But the roads round here don't maintain themselves, and the scenery more than made up for the short delays. As I say, we were loving the scenery, however it was a bit of a relief when the camper van pulled over and we were able to pick up the pace a bit. Unbelievably, we emerged from the mountain gorge and low cloud into brilliant sunshine, and the temperatures soared. We just had to stop and pull over and enjoy the moment. The sun had finally broken through, and although we didn't let the low cloud dampen our spirits, I think deep down we were both hoping for sunshine, and sunshine we got. Spirits lifted even further by the good weather. We rode into Potes and found our apartment. As previously mentioned, it was right on the river running through Potes, just 100 or so yards away from the high street, but low enough down so we didn't actually get the noise and the hubbub from the bars and restaurants. It was another Booking.com find, and our studio apartment worked out at £155 for our 2-night stay. It was clean, bright, well appointed with all needed, including a washing machine, which I made full use of. Having unpacked, showered and changed, I went to put my phone on charge before going out and noticed a message on my LinkedIn account. It was from a guy called Jose in Spain, stating that he'd found my document case and passport and would I like to give him a ring. Having picked up the phone and called, it was apparent that there was a language barrier, so it was time once again to call on the kindness of Irene. Cutting a very long story short, it turned out that Jose was actually an off-duty policeman who'd actually come across my document case, which was actually in the middle of the road. Via Irene, we arranged to actually meet Jose in Santander on Tuesday morning. It was now Sunday evening. That gave us a full day in the Picos the following day on the Monday, and we could then meet him in Santander before riding to Bilbao, drop off the hire bike, return to Pamplona, and then pick up my bike from the BMW garage. With my runner luck so far, I really couldn't believe that this was all starting to come together in a good way, and all due to the kindness of 2 total random strangers. I can't tell you how relieved I was at the prospect of being reunited with my passport. Now, this was the first day of the journey so far that I'd not actually had to pack up my belongings in the morning. We were actually staying for a second night in Potes, and I must confess it was a relief and just saved so much time. The knowledge that we actually were going to be returning to our apartment that night. This route now really is a biker's playground, and you can see why the Picos de Europa has such a huge following and is on most people's bucket list. Having reached the Deer Mirador, you just can't fail to be impressed with the scenery and just the glory of what nature actually has to offer. Whilst admiring the view, we got chatting with a couple of Geordie bikers. They were nearing the end of their journey, however we were just beginning ours. Now, they very kindly gave us one of their stickers and a felt tip pen so we could actually personalise our own sticker, proudly placing it on the barrier amongst the hundreds of other stickers of bikers that have gone before us. The Deer Mirador is actually at one of the peaks in the mountain range, and we then started our descent down towards Riano, and following the road round again, sort of tight twists, but that's when we came across the roads just cut into the mountain rocks, and it really was an incredible experience. It was just so far removed from the roads that we're used to riding back in the UK, and with the glorious weather, temperatures up in the mid to late 20s, it was just perfect for a day on the bike. would have been just rude not to actually stop at this viewing point at Lake Riano. Initially I almost overshot it, so actually had to basically slide the bike back slightly. Now, having got down to the water's edge, as I say, the views are absolutely incredible with the white, I suppose, cliff sides of the mountain in the background, just setting the lake off perfectly. One thing I can never understand is why Riano hasn't been, I suppose, more sympathetically built. The town itself is actually really quite modern, and modern by virtue of the fact that there's just no character to it. They really could do something so much more with this place and actually make it a real destination. I'm sure a lot of the bikers would actually use this on a far more frequent basis if it were actually just a little bit more interesting. Now, with Riano being at the southern tip of the Possez Triangle, we now headed north towards Covadonga and Cangas de Onís, and the temperature really had risen. We must have been up easily into the early 30s, and even riding the bike it was still really warm. But again, the views over the lake was just absolutely amazing. This ride just kept on giving, and once again, you know, you can really see why the Picos de Europa is such an iconic destination. with stretches of road like this, all you can really just say is wow. We came across another mirador, which again was just too good to pass up. So having pulled over and parked the bike, we then noticed a walkway down by the side of the car park, which actually went down and then out onto a viewing platform. I've actually marked the name of the mirador on the map, just for both my reference and also for yours should you be interested. But once again, superb views. There was another couple enjoying the view, and fortunately we managed to get a photograph together before returning to the bike and then heading back out on the road. It really had been a hot day, and the day had been really quite long at this stage. It was purely and simply adrenaline, I think, that was keeping me going, and also Rose too, as we still had quite a ways to go to complete the triangle and return to our accommodation in Potes, but still some great roads to ride. Now, whilst it was getting late in the day, there was still time to stop for a pot of tea before heading down into Potes. So that was our day out riding the Potes Triangle. Not a bad introduction to northern Spain. All in all, a fantastic day for many different reasons. The following day we did get to meet our off-duty policeman, and I gave him a drink for his troubles, and I think I managed to convey just how grateful we were for his efforts. Needless to say, the AA hadn't booked the promised hire car from Bilbao to Pamplona, but that's just another story. At least I was reunited with my beloved K1600 for the rest of the journey. In the next episode, we ride from a rural retreat just outside Pamplona to the stunning city of Burgos. Now, this whole YouTube thing has been a vertical learning curve for me so far, and a bit of feedback really would be welcomed. Perhaps even a thumbs up if you're enjoying my efforts so far, or even subscribe if you want to see more. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed and that you'll join me again for the next episode.